2050, 36 years, we're going to go from 7 billion people to 9 billion. And people go, well, yeah, it's 36 years though, but think about your kids. How old are they, right? Like I have a son 19, son 21. So think about what's going to happen in their lifetimes. That's 1 million people a week, every week in a row for 36 years. So investments like $1 billion in a bridge to take in containers or to dredge out to 50 feet, can't be done near term, right? We know that those are big investments. There's so much arguments today over, transportation dollars. There's no reauthorization. If you're going to get the money to do it, you're going to have to do a lot of crazy things to make it happen, and they need to pay off, or your community will suffer. And the fact is that this is a bigger impact area other than the Panama Canal, is the size of the ships. Mm-hmm. Because a 4,500, I remember when a 5,000 TEU ship was a big deal. Yep. The thing came in and you're like, holy smokes, man, look at the size of this thing. It's like, that's like nothing. Yep. Right, you got 12,500 came in here recently. The Fabiola came into Long Beach. You know that no other port in the country could have took that ship.
That's right.
And that thing was 12,500 TEUs. Right, so LA and Long Beach have nothing to worry about when you talk about the ability to handle size. And post-Panamax, they're predicting 18,000 TEU ships. Right. No one can take that ship right now. Okay, it won't get through the canal. Right, people are running fast to do it because it's a reality. But the point would be is that what 3 ships used to do, one ship can do. So the business loss in terms of the fees and all those things come from reduced ships, right? That's really going to be something that is going to be the big reveal, I guess. When you talk about the predictive and the data analytics around this, I mean, those are just facts. So the other, and the final point I'll make to the audience about the question you asked is this. Apple just did an iPhone release, right? It was kind of cool, UPS, we handled that thing. We were very proud of that. Okay, I want you to understand what happened. They sold 10 million iPhones. They needed a company that could execute that. They are not a logistics company. They make technology. They needed a supply chain logistics company that could make that happen, right? So we have global infrastructure. In China, Shanghai, Guangzhou, just built a facility there. We bring their products in through Anchorage down into Ontario. Tell you how important this is to Apple. Okay, this infrastructure in South Cal is huge, right? Because at the end of the day, they fly everything. They don't put iPhones on ships because of the fact that you want to get rid of something as soon as you make it. That's how you get paid. And you don't want to have your capital caught up in it. So velocity matters. Ships aren't fast. So everything that comes across the water is going to be pretty low margin type products, except for automobiles would be the exception to that because of the size, right? So having said that, we released 10 million iPhones and we synchronized them in one movement throughout the U.S. economy. They couldn't make that happen if they went east. They have to come here because of California and our 38 million people, and then Oregon and Washington, right? So that's an advantage on the West Coast when you talk about logistics. And the other part of it is that if a ship leaves Asia, it takes 33 days for it to get to New York. It gets here in 19. On rail, I can get a product to New York on a train in 24 days. That's not going away. That's just a physical reality to existing structures.
So the answer to the question is you don't think there's going to be any big East Coast port winners either?
No.
Well, given the investments that they're making, I would suggest that they have a different opinion, but we don't know. Here's the bottom line.
Well, there'll be marginal growth. There'll be marginal growth.
But that's the point. If there's no volume of cargo,
that's not going to happen.
The consumer-oriented market of the United States, if we don't get past 2.5% GDP, it isn't going to matter anyway because there isn't any freight. There's already a glut of ships in every trade lane around the world. So that's the other point, but interesting perspectives. How are we doing on time? All right, well, this is an educational institution, and I've spent the better part of my entire adult life as an adjunct professor here in the United States and overseas, so we're going to finish with an educational question. As the consultant and author, Peter Drucker once stated, the future of any advanced society like that of the U.S. lies in the ongoing education of what he called the knowledge worker. He said that in 1967, by the way. Whether or not we paid any attention is a point for debate. Knowing what you know, and this is for you all as well, about global trade and the ruthless competition that goes on between countries, do you believe that both the U.S. public school system and our universities are providing kids with the skills they need to compete in the global marketplace?
Let me use this answer. No.
Finally! Finally! Can I get a hug? Give me some love.
Let me use this answer. No.
We had dinner last night.
Right.
We talked about this very thing.
Right.
Go ahead.
No.
Okay.
No, it's the number one problem in the country. Not in California, not in Los Angeles. You know, one of the things that I'll say is as a board member of the United Way, as a chairman of the Urban League Board as well, there's some real issues here. And they're not just in urban communities. They're not just in the places that we historically say they are. You know, I mean, I live in Yorba Linda, and, you know, they have a dropout rate. You know, and it's funny how, you know, when we got out of school as baby boomers, you know, if someone dropped out, they like hid.
Yeah.
You know, the family wouldn't talk about it.
Right.
It's like, hey, Larry dropped out. Ooh. Right? Hey, he's got to go to Alabama or something. You know, he's an embarrassment. Right? Right? He's an embarrassment to the family, right? Now people say the kid dropped out and go, yeah, but he's a good kid.
Yeah.
You know, hey,
Didn't I
listen.
see him on the corner?
You know, Peter Drucker, you know, and I thought that was a great quote you used for this because it's so spot on he was predicting now, right?
Precisely.
Because it's a fact that as technology has taken over and as companies do less with more and use technology to replace people and all that stuff's coming true. You know, at UPS, we're looking at automation.
Yep.
You know, but the bottom line is we still want people to have a high school diploma. I mean, we give tuition reimbursement. I mean, we're the most kid-friendly company on the planet. I mean, we give benefits, pensions. You know, they walk through the door and get that stuff, and we give them tuition reimbursement to go to community colleges. And I mean, I started off as a college student. That was my career, you know, as a San Jose State college student, right? I've been UPS 37 years. And the fact of the matter is I paid for my education with that job. I didn't take loans or grants. I paid for it with that job, right? Now, you can't do that today. You can't pay for your education with it. We can't send our children to college and go get a job and do what I did, right? Don't work, right? So that's been a real crisis. You know, we're getting an elite kind of aspect there. And then we have a 50% dropout rate in urban communities like Los Angeles. You know, and then we get communities that used to be 99.9 saying, well, we're 87. You know, in places like La Jolla. Okay, that's a problem. And it's really not being addressed. The number one thing that business owners say to me when I go see them is I can't get people. I can't get people.
Right.
You know, there's a great company up north called Do Re Mi. They're a great success story, founded by a husband and a wife, you know, and it was a music, they did musical scores. You know, they used to do sheets of music, Do Re Mi, right? They do server technology now for theaters. And 9 out of 10 times in California, when you go into a Regal theater or whatever, their HD technology is driving that theater, where you download the movie from DreamWorks into their server, you buy 10 showings of Iron Man, it goes into their server, and you watch it in the theater. They make that stuff. Mm-hmm. When I go visit Carlos at Do Re Mi, you know, what I say, he has like techs making this stuff, right? I say, hey, Carlos, how you train these folks? He goes, we train them. He goes, they just need a high school diploma. We can't get techs to do this work. Mm. Same thing with a company called Equus down on the I-10. And if you never heard of Equus, that's on purpose, actually. They don't advertise. They build the entire server exchange network for Netflix. And they're in Southern California, not Silicon Valley, right? But they train their own people. And they build these big servers with 10G. And they'll train, but the education system isn't going to produce. If you have a plan to grow 20% and you need knowledge workers to do that, If you don't have a plan to train them or some education platform, it's probably not going to happen. You know, so that story is a really profound story in our state. And it's actually, I think, one of the bigger reasons we're losing businesses to Texas. Texas, and I'll say this finally, we rank in the state of California across all ethnicities. Go look it up. No matter there's a Latino, African American, Caucasian, Asian, across all ethnicities, our kids are in the 40th rank of states or less, right? So whatever race you are, your kid is probably in the 40-somethings.
And there's only 50 in case you missed that in school, in public schools.
Right.
Okay?
Now let me tell you, if you get a moment, Google Austin in education. Where do their Latino kids rank in America in education? Number 4. African Americans, number 4. Asians, number 2. Caucasians are like number 6. Right? So you understand they can be accused of like giving better, right? They care about children. They care about the elementary school. And these were elementary school ranks, like 4th graders. So if you're going to start a company and you're Amazon or Google and you say, well, I'm just, it's like when we buy a house. I want to go where the best school is. That's why Texas is taking so much business.
And having said all of that, globally, math and science, United States, consistently, high 20s, 30 rankings among 189 countries around the world. So we're not exactly setting the world on fire on a global perspective either. Kent, you want to add, and then we'll finish it up?
You've got kids in kindergarten and 1st grade in India, Vietnam, China. They're learning how to code. That's not a joke. I mean, we laugh about it, but that's true. It's a game, but they're learning how to code. And we spend $1.2 billion on iPads, and 47% of the teachers don't even use the thing. So what does that tell you about how our education group is embracing that technology? And if that's just a fact of life.
Yeah.
And if we can't get that straight.
They're learning how to code data analytics, and I just found out what it is today. So we're at a slight disadvantage if you want to use that as anecdotal proof. Any questions for the panel before we wrap up and maybe have a cold brew or a soda? Sir.
On the subject, of education, obviously that's a very good point. But I think another point we are missing is infrastructure. I think even Port of Long Beach or Los Angeles, I think last time I saw the ranking, is probably number 8 or 9 in the world. There's Rotterdam, Singapore, everybody is much bigger. Same way, our Los Angeles International Airport. The way I see, I travel the world, and I think it's not among the top.
Oh, no.
So,
Not even close. What airport has traffic lights? I'm sorry.
so I think infrastructure is also a big issue here.
Do you want to take a shot?
Don't
at
get
the
me started. I travel all the time. LAX is not my favorite. Sorry.
Do you want to take a shot at the environmentalist, or do you want me to? The fact of the matter is we can't work on the infrastructure because there are so many opposing groups, the environmental justice groups, the unions, the neighborhoods. They've tried to improve the air quality and the infrastructure at the port. BNSF has worked for, 7 years to try to get that intermodal, and we're still not there because there's always another special interest group.
CEQA reform is
Yep.
is the number one barrier to the growth, and the thing that is really evident with CEQA and CEQA reform is necessary. It's good legislation. It's just old. It's like 40 or 50, and it's stopping progress in building projects. And the community that gets affected disproportionately. There's a great piece by an economist in the state. Kent knows him and Dan knows him, John Husing. Where he said he did all these analytics. He said, and the problem with CEQA is it's stopping a $500 million building project, created about 8,000 jobs over in the port area. And the people that would get those jobs are those high school diploma folks.
Right.
So it disproportionately affects the poor in terms of jobs. It really does. And it needs to be reformed so that growth can happen with infrastructure, as you mentioned. And the point would be, even as a nation, we invest, I have a presentation I do on this, And I showed the infrastructure investment in Asia, India, so China, India, the UK, Germany, and China was at one point 11, 12%, right? I know they're building cities people don't live in, but you know, they still were spending that money, right? India is like 9 or 10%. The UK was like 3 something. Germany was like 3 something. Okay, and if you look at their GDP, it was like almost exactly that number, right? So when they were growing India at 10.5% in 2011, they spent like 10% on infrastructure. We spend 1.5%. And the reason for that is all the things we know that are, and so what's happened is you have all these groups now that form Mobility 21, you know, these Gold I-5 consortiums, and they go find the money. And the government goes, great, you found the money. And it's the same thing that's happening in the education system with UCs and Cal States, is now they fund, the people that run those schools are fundraisers versus educators, the leader, the chancellors. Because the minute you can pay for it, the government goes, well, we're going to cut that. Right? And then you have, you know, this disparate, you know, kind of circumstance emerge.
Well, from inception to completion, it's already functionally obsolete and out of date. You know, you say, oh, I need to widen this freeway. Okay, great. So you have concept, and then you go out and engineer it. Then you get the money, and then you get hung up on some environmental, you know, a flower-loving fly or something like that. And then the next thing you know is, you know, you're in litigation for 2.5 years. You pay your extortion. You get the project built. Oh, wow, we've got another 2 million people in the area, and we've still got gridlock.
Well,
Ask me how I really
no,
feel about
I think
that.
no, this is great. I think and we'll finish up with this unless there's more questions, but the rarest thing in business today is a genuine opinion. And I think we can thank these gentlemen for expressing how they really feel.
You ought to see us have dinner.
Outstanding.
See us at a football game.
So in terms of the sessions and such, I think you're going to move on to the next phase, but this is kind of it for our part, correct?
That was fantastic. I just wanted to ask, is there any other questions for these great guys? That was really, really wonderful, gentlemen. Very
Good job.
stimulating. Let's talk later about a
Outstanding.
radio show
for
at
being
happy
here.
hour. Up next for final words is Dr. Raj Gopalan.
Okay, so I'm the only final person between you and the cocktails. So you may be thinking, is this going to be one of these Academy Awards type thank you speeches? No, it's not going to be. So I just want to say, you know, we had a fascinating day. And we saw, those of us who were fortunate enough to stay till 5 o'clock, we had a fascinating discussion just now on logistics and distribution, infrastructure, education, other issues. And we had great panel discussions, eloquent speakers throughout the day. So I just want to thank all the panelists. I want to thank all the speakers for just doing such a fabulous job. And many of you came from the other end of the country. I really appreciate that, and on behalf of the center, you know, we deeply appreciate. In addition, I also want to thank my colleagues. Many of my faculty colleagues acted as moderators, and we really appreciate all the effort you put in. But finally, most important, the people I want to thank are those who actually put in the most effort into making this event, right? You know, this was 6-7 months ago, Nick and I started thinking about this, you know, what the agenda should look like, what should be breakout sessions, what. But the folks, and in this case, I want to mention specific names, right? These are students, okay? And I think this speaks to our students, the quality of our students, their motivation, their can-do attitude. They're the ones who made this event, okay? Andrea Shen has been working for about 7 months. Okay? Following up with sponsors, following up with panelists, okay? Syed Kader has been working with panelists, so on. And then over the past few months, the past day, and even all of today, Adam Montgomery, Chanel Frampton, Kevin Smith, Sally Canario, they've all put in so much effort into this. And I think we're just so proud of our students, because if they can do this, you know, make such a have such a wonderful event, what can they not do, right? Thank you.
And just one final presentation. We'll have a drink very soon. Amna Nguyen, please come in. The Associate Director of Career Resources at USC here they're sponsoring the, iBear is sponsoring the happy hour that we're about to attend. Hold on, come on up.
The idea was the future of the world economy, the future of the U.S. economy is going to be ever more tightly bound with the economies of the Near West. And USC's Marshall School of Business was the first school to recognize that in any serious institutional way.
We wanted a program that was like a mini United Nations. The university strategy was to emphasize globalization.
We are a global university, and our goal is truly to present problems to our students that they will have to solve in the years to come with a global perspective.
There's nothing like it in the world.
The bonding that happens during the course of the year is so strong. It's really relationships that you develop in class, right?
We have a very strong network of alumni at USC. The relationship is very tight and it's very solid. And I think the participants that we have really have this great advantage because we are practically going to function as a family.
After 30 years, you still have a good network.
I like this program. I like its diversity because people in our class are come from 13 different countries.
I'm new to USC. I want to check what shut up in the USC and website I found.
I landed a job, senior buying position with Gulfstream Aerospace. A couple weeks after graduation, I'll be living in Smedford. They walk out of here when they get that diploma, and they are so confident, it causes them to stand up straighter. The transformation is incredible to watch.
Well, thank you. I hope you enjoyed the videos. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, then I'm hoping that two videos will be 1,000-fold that. So there's not much more than I can add to the video, just that the whole underlying theme of this summit has been what drives all the operations and the supply chain is the talent. And that I think that's what USC Marshall, the iBear program can provide. We have this year, this is our 37th year of the iBear program. We've been in existence for quite some time. This year we have 53 participants from 14 different countries across all disciplines and industries as well. We have a few of them participating in the summit today, so if you've had a chance to interact with them, that's great. If you haven't, please make sure you have a chance to talk to them in the reception. I think we managed to bag the most anticipated event to sponsor, and I know I'm standing between you and a well-deserved cocktail, so I'll wrap it up by saying I want to say thank you very much to Nick, to the Center for Global Supply Chain, And it's been a pleasure to sponsor the event, and congratulations, and we look forward to further collaboration. So thank you. And enjoy the reception.
Just one final thing, just seriously, we have an amazing group here at USC. The Bollywood dancers here are going to perform for us. They are so amazing. Nick?
Before we actually pass over to the final show, which is, I think you guys are going to love it, I need to really thank the MC, our MC today, Si Hung-in, from early morning, my very dear friend, Stephanie. Thank you very much. We greatly appreciate it. And once again, I think I see most of you are still here, and I know the cocktail is not the reason. Could be part of it, but thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing your feedback about what worked, what didn't, what did you like, what are we going to do next year, because every year our goal is to provide very stimulating conversation, thought leadership, and give you an ability to come together once a year and walk away with tons of information. So thank you all again, and let's do the last show. Okay, let's do it.
Without further ado, come on. Let's hear it for the Bollywood dancers. Way to go! That was awesome. Well done. All right, everybody, please join us for cocktail hour now outside in the front. We're going to stand outside and have cocktails. Please join us.